Hello, everyone. This is another pop up training. This is collaboration continued. So, it's just been percolating all through the day for the session that I did this morning about collaboration. And I shared with you that collaboration is one of the 6 pillars. And my intention is to give like the overview and the backbone of the lesson, so of the pop-up training, that you have something to leave with, something that shifts you in some way. And the important thing, the reason I ask you to share and engage and to put your takeaways below the video, to comment under the video, is because instead of it being just a like, yeah, that was a nice experience and I resonate with what she's saying, and then going off into your life, the integration piece is lost, and we don't really shift in any way if we do that. And so the invitation is for you to comment on what it is that lands for you or resonates or doesn't resonate. You don't have to agree with me. There is space. I am able to hold space for differing views and differing beliefs. And so if you have a differing view, you can share that too. And so this piece is an extension, like a next piece to the collaboration, because to me, you can watch the first part, which is all that I said about collaboration and many people's view of collaboration and how mine differs from that. And then the other piece I wanted to add was why collaboration is so expansive, and why it is an investment of time or resource, time or money, that's worth doing, that pays tenfold, that is worth more than the actual investment, because what you receive from it is often more than what you actually put into it. And so, for example, I don't know whether she's in this group actually. So years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I invested in my very first coaching program. I'd never done anything like it. I did do a university degree and paid a pretty penny for that. And after that, all my learning was through books and free kind of resources that I used. I went to a few workshops, weekend workshops and things like that I invested a little bit in, but nothing in the thousands. And then I saw an ad on Facebook one day, and it just really penetrated my ears, and I just went down the path of, I ended up booking a call, and then I felt so compelled. Actually, the first time I was like, no, I'm not going to go ahead with this. And then the person did a follow-up call with me, and we had a follow-up call, and I just kept thinking about it. I was so drawn. I felt so nudged to do it, but I didn't at the time have the worthiness to invest in myself like that. And I'm just going to open up the group in case someone's watching. And anyway, eventually, after months, several calls with this person that was like a support coach that worked for the main coach, and I were having conversations and building rapport, and she says she built enough trust and know, like, and trust factor with me that I ended up investing, and it was $12,000. And it was a huge thing. My husband was like, he was very supportive, but it was just a huge thing at the time. And then what came of that was my awareness of what happens with a meeting of minds like that. I had never been in like an incubator like that experience, where it is a mastermind. It's where it wasn't, it was maybe the value came 20% from the curriculum, the videos and things that I watched and received new learning and new awareness, new knowledge, and maybe 20 or 30% was from the coaching that I received. Like, I got coaching, I had a one-on-one coaching calls every month for 6 months. But it was in the group call and the group Facebook group where they called them office hours, where there was a pop-up trainings like this. And it was the meeting of minds and being in proximity with those doing the same thing. And so the experience of witnessing and receiving from other people's learning and growth was worth the $12,000, like that alone. And in that experience, in the very first module, so you go through all these modules, you're working through all these modules, and in the modules, it invited you, I think it was the second module, it was like, find yourself a business bestie, they called them. And it's just like someone to keep, it's someone to keep you accountable. And it encouraged you that you wanted to match the person to someone that matches your energy, matches your devotion, matches your consciousness, that kind of thing. And there was a set of questions that, each time we met, like once a fortnight or once a month, that we would go through these questions. And it was like, what are you working on? What do you need support with? There was like 4 things. And then each call that you had, you'd show up and your contribution was, and you were held accountable to yourself, because you would show up. And if you hadn't done anything and you hadn't moved the needle forward, or you hadn't, paid enough attention that you knew what they were being held accountable for, like your business bestie was being held accountable for, you weren't contributing to the relationship. So it was a collaboration that was part of the group program. So there was no money exchanged, but the very valuable resource of time and energy to be in that relationship. And I spoke to a couple of women, and I could instantly feel that they were not where I was at in terms of devotion to what it was. They were like, oh yeah, we'll just see how it goes. And they weren't really all in on what it was that they were doing. And they, anyway, so I had the courage to go, no, I'm really devoted to this. I really want to receive something from this. So I'm going to be courageous and I'm going to say, no, this is not for me. Like, I don't want to work with someone that's not all in. It's not going to do the things. And then I ended up meeting a lady who had already been in the program for 12 months or 6 months or something, and had a whole bunch of business besties that weren't doing their thing. So she was a little disillusioned by the time I got to talk to her. And so, I'm, at the time I was in my late 30s. I think she was turning 60. And I think she was just starting out, maybe in the last couple of years, in her coaching business. And we hit it off, because she had the same level of enthusiasm, devotion, and commitment that I did. And so this is an example of a collaboration where there's, a higher realm kind of collaboration where you've come together. Now, it could have gone either way. It could have, neither of us were to know, but it was the intention that I set in the very beginning that I was going to do this because I had invested the $12,000. So I had skin in the game. I had a big motivation to really show up for this experience. And so I did it. And so here's another little caveat in here, is that what I notice is that the more investment of time and money, so more resources you have in the game, the more devoted you are. And I know that people say, when I receive it for free, I am really grateful. And I have no doubt that you're grateful. But where I have received scholarships for things and free things, yes, I have showed up, but not in the same way as I have when I've invested $10,000 and $20,000 and $40,000 into into programs and coaches, because there is that money represents an energy exchange, and so you have more in the game. So anyway, I had more in the game in this situation with her, with this business bestie. So we showed up as if it mattered, and we did our things, and we fully matched each other's energy, and were devoted to getting the most out of the experience for each other, in that 6 months. I was in the program for 6 months. Then when the program finished, we decided to continue. So for 5 years, actually it was 2019, so 4 years, nearly 5 years, we continued on to meet fortnightly and sometimes monthly when it got super hectic, and have continued to do that. And so the collaboration the collaboration has been deeply, deeply expansive and transformational for both of us. Now, in that contribution that I made to these calls, like every time I showed up fully in my full presence. And even after I was out of the program, so I was catching up, so we were still catching up, there was no money exchanged because we were masterminding together. We continued to do that, and we both continued to receive. And then so through that experience, there were bumps in the road where there were things that came up where because we were very much at the same level in terms of how, like, clients and my income and all that kind of thing. And then there were times where I scooted ahead, and then there were things that came up for her, like stories around our feminine wounding that came up in that time. But what got to happen, and what was available to us, because we had set the intention, and that we were devoted to feminine leadership, and that we are deeply, deeply self-responsible individuals, that we could navigate those pieces together, like individually when things came up, and then together to keep us in a relationship in a good way. So that is possible, that you can still have patterns come up around competition and scarcity and not enough, and all of those stories that are part of that paradigm can still come up. Am I contributing as much as you're contributing, and all of those pieces, and together in that collaboration, because you show up in a way that is deeply self-responsible, that you clean up your part of it, you clean up your side, so that you can come in a good way, and then both experience a higher version, a higher experience of the collaboration and the relationship, because you're both self-responsible and you're both devoted to that. And so now what is available, so now I'm in one of her coaching programs. So I have the beautiful privilege of so she's come into one of mine last year, maybe I can't remember whether it was early this year, and now I'm in one of hers. And now, because of the beautiful relationship, the foundations that we've created, and the round table experience, like that we're at the round table, there is no hierarchy. There have been times where it has felt like I was further along than her, and there were times where she and the roles were reversed. But because we're in the collaboration, and we know that this experience is for us to experience and know more of ourselves, then we're able to be in this collaboration and in this sense of community together, it's because it's just an opportunity to see more of who we are and know where there's more love to give to ourselves, or call back apart and reintegrate that into our wholeness. And so so in this experience of being now supported by her, so there has been this incredible unfolding of, so she's taking us through these experiences. Her program's called Reclamation, and she's taking us through these different experiences. Now, things that I have done before in other situations, like that really hurt. I have done some of these processes, similar processes before, where I'm uncovering, generational beliefs around money and stories around this being with other women, the feminine wounding. But in the experience of being together, hang on, where was I going? Having done this before, yes, having done these things before, and I have been in the leadership role. I've been at the table where it's been me facilitating. That what collaboration and community and sistership means to me is that at times someone else at the table is going to give their perspective on the thing that I also teach this stuff, but I'm now in the receiving. Well, I'm always in receiving in when I'm facilitating, but I'm in her facilitating, and I'm present to her facilitation, and then I get to uncover more and more of who I truly am. And so today I had an experience where I showed up to the call, because the call was today. It was a coaching call. I didn't really have anything that was pressing. I didn't really have any struggle or anything that was coming up for me. And then in the others sharing, based on the teaching call that they did last week, I was listening and receiving and open to what was coming through for me. And it was another version of stories that my family had around money, that has translated to a belief around what money does, and then how that's playing out in my business and life. And so it is through, I just wouldn't uncover these things with this kind of grace and this kind of, it was kind of fun. It was kind of fun through the experience. I wouldn't be able to do that if I wasn't in collaboration. And so my message is for you to come together into the beautiful offerings that I have, or the beautiful offerings that there are so many beautiful gifted souls doing the deep work and opening their arms and hearts to invite you into these collaborations. I promise you the experience is so expansive and worth, so much more than the dollars that you exchange for the experience. And so this thing that I uncovered was this story of the angst between my parents around child support. And so my dad was not willing to pay for child support, and when he eventually did, then there was all this resentment about it. And then my stepmom would say things like, like all the stories around it. So there was all this resentment and angst, and it was like there was never really enough, and there was all this fighting about it. And so uncovering that piece and going, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense to me. And then being able to be with that, and then being able to upgrade. So just to, unplug and upgrade, because we've now uncovered it and brought it to the awareness. And so I couldn't have done that, I don't think, without being, those powerful conversations that happen when you come together. And that's why I'm so passionate about these mastermind, mistress mind collaboration programs, is because, I'm not into really creating digital self-paced learning, because We don't need more knowledge. We need the coming together to spark these juices and to spark this remembering and this magic of who we truly are, and to see ourselves and to see each other and to celebrate each other, and come and just have this great experience. And so I don't see self-work or healing as I'm sorry, self-awareness or healing as work anymore. I don't see myself as broken, and you'll never hear me say that to the people, the clients in my programs, is because it gets to be an expansive, joyous, fun experience, knowing that I'm already whole. I just forgot parts of it. I just didn't see parts of it, that I now unveil those things for myself, and I just call them back and call myself home. And that's what I support others to do. We're not broken or fragmented or missing pieces. We are whole, and we've just forgotten. And so we take these journeys to support ourselves to come home and to come back to that remembering of our wholeness. And so if you want to join us in this journey, it is going to be beautiful and juicy and amazing. We start on the 25th of September. There's early bird pricing until Friday, the 22nd, 2 more days. And I'll put the link underneath this video. I can't wait to be in the program with you. The reason it's such a low price point, there is payment plans as well, but the reason it's such a low price point is because it's a taster, it's an experience of it. It's not the full gamut. It's only 4 weeks. And so it gives you the opportunity to try it out and to have and to see, to experience what I'm talking about. So have a beautiful evening and day wherever you are in the world, and I will speak with you soon. And actually, I think the next pop-up is on Friday, so I will see you soon.